The definition of fully vaccinated may change in Kentucky. A doctor shares his perspective straight ahead.
Some new safety changes are coming to a busy road in downtown Lexington. Hear from people living there who are all in for a plan to make drivers slow down.
And we'll see another cold night win out before a big warm-up takes us into midweek. We'll have details on temperatures and some late week storm chances coming up.
Live from Lexington, our home, your news. This is Fox 56 News at 10.
Good evening, I'm Marvin Bartlett.
And I'm Imani Payne. Kristen has the night off. Major changes are coming to Lexington's West High Street. The area of concentration is near Rupp Arena, known as Woodward Heights. It's been the location of 3 fatal accidents in the past year.
Georgia Godfrey is there now. She spoke to the mayor and residents about the changes. Gigi.
Those 3 fatal accidents happened right here. 6 News.
Thanks, Gigi. Now, gas prices in Lexington and the rest of the state continue to climb. The average price in Lexington is $3.23 a gallon. Prices haven't been that high since late 2014. Last month, gas was going for $2.94 a gallon. This time last year, the price for a gallon of regular unleaded was $2.35. One bit of good news on the gasoline front, our average price is 25 cents less than the national average. Well, it was a cold-hearted Valentine's Day for those hoping for a little warmth.
Yeah, I had to bundle up for dinner tonight, but let's head over to Chief Meteorologist Chris Johnson for some good news about a midweek warm-up. Chris.
Yeah, guys, as we look ahead for the next couple of days, hanging will be a possibility. But despite the cold start tomorrow, things really warm up. And we're talking some 60s and storm chances a little bit later on this week. We'll talk more about that forecast here in just a bit. Guys.
That's sounding better. The Lexington and Fayette County Health Department released new data on the city's COVID-19 numbers today. Good news, Lexington's COVID-19 cases continued to drop as just 240 new cases were reported Friday. The 7-day rolling average is 485 new cases per day, down from 760 just 1 week ago. The city continues to offer chances for residents to get vaccinated to protect themselves from the virus.
COVID numbers are also declining statewide. 1,900 new cases were reported today, while the state's positivity rate fell under 18%. Hospitalizations continue to decrease and more ICU beds are opening up across the state. Governor Andy Beshear says the Commonwealth could see some changes if these positive trends continue.
Fully vaccinated could soon take on a broader meaning here in Kentucky. A state lawmaker has filed a resolution to recognize a positive COVID antibody test as being equal to having a full vaccine dose.
Fox 56's Bodie Brooks reached out to a health expert to get his perspective on the proposal.
I recommend people take the vaccine. Maybe they should get a booster in that regard. And people who didn't know that they had the infection to begin with and have actually adequate antibody levels will be okay.
In Frankfort, Bodie Brooks, Fox 56 News.
Alvarado's bill would only apply to departments and agencies within state government, and if a private business or venue is still requiring a vaccine, this wouldn't count. The bill passed the Senate Health Committee last week and will come up for a full vote in the full Senate tomorrow.
The Democratic candidate for mayor of Louisville says he's thankful to be alive tonight. Police say 21-year-old Quintez Brown attempted to shoot attorney Craig Greenberg inside his campaign office at the Butchertown Market building this morning. Greenberg says there were 5 people in his office at the time. The staffer closest to the door was able to get it shut and barricaded. Greenberg says the bullet missed his body by inches.
Let me say again that all of us are blessed. And I'm blessed to be standing here today with you. Despite one bullet coming so close that it grazed my sweater and my shirt, no one was physically harmed, and we're extraordinarily grateful for our safety. We are shaken, but safe.
A scary situation there. Louisville Metro Police say they arrested Brown outside the Butchertown Market in connection to the shooting. He's now facing several charges, including attempted murder. A motive for the shooting remains unclear.
A Paris man has been sentenced to 15 years in federal prison. Joseph Moctezuma Lopez pleaded guilty in November to producing child pornography. Law enforcement found explicit photos of a victim on his phone, and Lopez admitted to meeting with her online and communicating with her over social media for more than 2 years. Lopez must serve 85% of his sentence before being eligible for parole.
Kentucky State Police are investigating a string of storage building thefts happening in Moorhead. Troopers are attempting to return unclaimed property from several storage unit thefts in Rowan County and Fleming County taking place over the past 2 years. If you or someone you know had a storage unit broken into in these areas during that time frame, you're asked to contact KSP Detective Reynolds. That number is 606-784-4127.
After nearly 2.5 decades on the job, one of Lexington's state representatives has pulled her name from the ballot. Up next, we hear from Susan Westrom on her decision to say goodbye to the State House.
Plus, lawyers wrapped up questioning as a prospective jury is set for the trial of former Louisville police officer Brett Hankinson.
The first 10 minutes of Fox 56 News at 10.
State Representative Susan Westrom has announced she will not be seeking re-election this year, ending an almost 24-year career spent representing the 79th district in Lexington at the Capitol. Westrom told Fox 56 she's been working several years to prepare for when she would step down, but wanted to find the right candidate to succeed her. She met Chad All more than 2 decades ago and has worked with him through various political organizations. All told her he was interested in running. Westrom had filed for re-election in December, but reconsidered, believing she's found the right candidate for the job.
I thought, this is a good time for me. The universe is speaking to me. And so I was thrilled to death to be able to take it into deep consideration and talk with my family and talk with our leadership here. There's nothing wrong with the new face over here.
Westrom says she will be endorsing All in the campaign for her seat. There's also another Democrat in the race, Justin Bramhall of Lexington. Westrom says a changing political climate did not factor into her decision. She will serve out the rest of her term through the end of the year.
Questioning of jurors. Lawyers wrapped up their questioning in the trial of the officer involved in the raid that killed Breonna Taylor. After 4 days of questioning last week, prosecutors and defense attorneys agreed on a pool of 48 prospective jurors. Those 48 will be brought back on February 22nd, when 12 jurors and 3 alternates will be selected for the trial. Former Louisville police officer Brett Hankinson was not charged in Taylor's March 13, 2020 death, but he faces 3 counts of wanton endangerment for allegedly firing shots that went into a neighbor's apartment.
The city of Somerset announced its first winner of the Martin Luther King Jr. Acts of Service Award today. Quest Counseling CEO Nathan Fisher received the award for his work, shining a light on mental health and healing in the community. By giving this award each year, the city hopes to recognize community servants who are honoring the legacy of Dr. Martin Luther King Jr.
Coming up, we'll have more news as we take you around the world in 56.
Including President Biden inching closer to appointing his first Supreme Court justice. Stay with us.
Ember calm cold tonight with a big warm-up into midweek. More on temperatures and some storm chances ahead late week. Those details and more coming up. Forecast, we dry skies out Friday just in time for the weekend. Lots of sunshine taking over Saturday, Sunday. Highs climbing back into the 40s, 50s. Look at that, low 60s by early next week. Guys, back to you.
All right, Chris, thank you. Americans still wait on tax returns and a major bridge reopens on the Canadian border.
Those stories and more as we go around the world in 56. After a week-long protest by Canadian truckers that stalled traffic and disrupted international trade and commerce, Ambassador Bridge across the Detroit River was clear and back open for normal operations today. Canadian police say they arrested 12 people on criminal charges and towed away another 10 vehicles before access was fully restored.
The White House gets closer to announcing its pick to fill a vacancy on the highest court in the land. While he hasn't made a decision yet, President Biden pledged to nominate the first black woman to the court. For now, Democrats can't confirm a nominee without Republican support as New Mexico Senator Ben Ray Lujan recovers from a stroke.
Amazon employees working in company warehouses will no longer be required to wear masks if they are vaccinated. Amazon also updated rules in place for paid time off, for those vaccinated eligible for paid leave if they contract the virus.
According to data from the Washington Post, the IRS has nearly 24 million individual and business tax returns that have not yet been processed from last year. The agency reported more than 11 million unprocessed reports back in December. The federal agency is warning returns may be delayed for 10 months or even longer. 2 penguins who gained fame during the pandemic are now the stars of a children's book. That's tonight's talker.
Yeah, the rock hopper penguins named Edward and Annie walked around the empty halls of the Shed Aquarium in Chicago during the pandemic and often visited other animals. Videos of their escapades went viral and have now inspired a book titled Edward and Annie, A Penguin Adventure. Their caretaker says penguins are curious creatures and they needed to be out and about for mental stimulation. The book will be released next month, and part of the proceeds will benefit the aquarium.
You know, this reminds me of that movie Madagascar, where the penguins kept trying to escape from the zoo. So I think if the book's anything like that movie,
I think that is maybe what kind of penguins those are. You can't blame them for being bored when no one was coming to visit.
They got to do what they got to do, right?
That's for certain. That's tonight's talker. Mitch?
Gotta stay warm somehow, right? All right, when we come back, we're going to talk some.
Our home, your news. This is Fox 56 News at 10:30.
Lexington first responders are working around the clock, fighting back against an uptick in overdoses since the pandemic began. In May of 2020, the fire department responded to close to 200 overdoses, a record high. That's compared to just 79 overdoses at the same time in 2019. To combat the problem, the Lexington Fire Department created a paramedicine response team. It's made up of firefighters, EMTs, social workers, and a police detective. They hit the streets each week to visit people previously revived by the department after an overdose. They teach them how to use overdose reversal kits known as Narcan and encourage those in need to seek treatment.
You have so many individuals that are truly struggling to survive day to day, going to work and making a living, but that are still fighting an addiction, still fighting a disease, and it's still such a struggle for them. And anything that we can do as a community to support them is important.
He goes on to say he believes the pandemic halting in-person addiction meetings could be a factor in the uptick, but says their outreach seems to be working as those high numbers are slowly starting to work their way back down. The department responded to 100 overdoses in December of last year. For information on how to help or if you're in need of help, visit lexingtonfiredepartment.com.
Georgetown's Citizens Police Academy is returning after pausing for several years because of the COVID-19 pandemic. The academy is a chance for the community to experience what officers are up against every day. From the firearms simulator to traffic stops, the classes couldn't really be done virtually. But now as COVID case numbers start to slow, the department says it's time to bring it back. Spaces are limited, capacity caps at about 15 people, so everyone can socially distance properly. And Georgetown's PD expects those spots to fill quickly. Classes, which are specifically for Scott County residents, meet each Tuesday for 12 weeks. Participants learn a new part of law enforcement each week: hostage negotiating, ethics, firearms training, and more. Well, maybe not the ideal Valentine's Day temperatures today, but the good news is we are expecting a warm up this week.
Let's check back in with our chief meteorologist, Chris Johnson, for more on the forecast this week. Chris.
Yeah, guys, just hang in there, folks. Listen, it's cold now. Now we track in storm chances. More on that forecast ahead coming up.
Chris, thank you. Governor Andy Beshear's Better Kentucky plan aims to create new jobs, build better schools, and deliver clean drinking water across the state.
Estill, Garrett, and Madison counties are among the most recent to receive the funds. Our Georgia MacArthur has more on what opportunities the plan's open.
Now, this program is estimated to create approximately in Richmond. Georgia MacArthur, Fox 56 News.
Coming up, what experts are saying about the timeline of Russia's possible invasion in Ukraine.
Hear from Ukraine's president as he prepares his country for an attack.
It was a nightmare commute for more than 100 passengers stranded on an Amtrak train in New York. It happened this morning on a train traveling from Boston to Washington, D.C. A power outage caused the train to get stuck in Hunters Point, Queens around 8:30 a.m. The train is still in New York, and Amtrak says a rescue engine is trying to get the train moving again. 106 passengers and crew members are on board. Amtrak says no one is injured, and they're passing out snacks and water to keep people comfortable during the wait. No word on what caused the power to go out or when the train will be back up and running.
Today, Ukraine's president said he's been told Russia will invade his country 2 days from now, announcing the news in a video post on Facebook and Instagram.
Now the U.S. is closing its embassy in Ukraine's capital city and moving all remaining staff near the Polish border. Fox News correspondent Caroline Shively reports from Washington.
Despite signals from Russian officials to leave for Europe, where he will meet with NATO allies about Russia's military buildup. In Washington, Caroline Shively, Fox News.
And stay with us for 5 things to know before you go to bed.
Including an unlikely bailout for former President Trump, why a former baseball star may be coming to the rescue.
Breezy and much warmer air blows into town starting Tuesday before rain and storm chances make a return. We'll have more on that forecast ahead coming up.
Rowdy celebrations, the cost of weddings, and a yard card at the White House.
Here are 5 things to know before you go to bed. After the Los Angeles Rams won the Super Bowl, things got out of hand in the streets of LA. Crowds stopped traffic, bashed cars, and climbed on top of buses. The chaos prompted the police department to declare the situation an unlawful assembly and order everyone to clear the area.
Alex Rodriguez, the former New York Yankees slugger, once a target of Donald Trump's mean tweets, is reportedly making an investment move on the ex-president's hotel in Washington, D.C. The former MLB star is reportedly part of an investment group seeking to buy the rights to the Trump Hotel. The $375 million deal could close within weeks. The 46-year-old entrepreneur is an unlikely financial savior for the former president. Trump once called A-Rod a druggie and joke unworthy of wearing the New York Yankees pinstripes.
Well, love may be in the air today, but a new study by Fidelity shows couples and money are not always the perfect match. The company's annual study polled more than 1,700 married or long-term couples, finding 1 in 5 couples say money is their greatest relationship challenge. More than half disagree on how much savings they'll need to reach retirement. And a recent report reveals weddings will cost more this year for couples. The firm Wedding Report released data showing more than 2 million weddings are expected this year in the U.S. Suppliers are increasing the price on couples due to the ongoing rise of essential wedding supplies. The average wedding cost will rise from $24,000 to around $27,000.
A Valentine's Day wish pops up on the White House lawn, the heart and picture of a German Shepherd puppy, look an awful lot like the first pup, Commander. The message on the big red heart says 3 things will last forever: faith, hope, and love, and the greatest of these is love. There you go, 5 things to know before you go to bed.
Now, your forecast from Fox 56 News.
On the year, we got to get to Friday, guys, and then we're going to be looking forward to the road to the Sweet 16 at Rupp Arena in the playoffs.
Yeah, that seems like that's coming very quickly.
Absolutely, that time of the year.
Very good indeed. And you have some good news for us, Mr. Chris.
Yeah, but guys, I'm going to tell you, buckle up, because it's an up and down pattern as far as temperatures are concerned. We start that tomorrow, 55, great looking day, 63 Wednesday, rain and storm chances Thursday, and then look at that, 38 Friday. Then we're back into the low 60s by early next week.
Let's just focus on the 60s.
Yeah, we'll do that.
Day by day.
It's up and down for sure. We're glad you were with us tonight and hope you're back tomorrow night at 10.
Have a great night.